Hello and welcome back to another movie review. Tonight I got around to seeing Despicable Me 2. I actually liked it. It's another one of those kids movie type of things, so if you're into kids movies, which I usually am, you'll probably enjoy it. How did it compare to the original? I like the original a little bit better from what I can remember of it. It's been a while since I watched it. But I did like the original a little bit better as far as like what the story was. Basically in this one we start off, it's the littlest girl's birthday, so they're throwing her a birthday party. One of his neighbors is trying to hook him up with a bunch of her friends and stuff, and he's really not interested because he has a fear of girls. I don't know if they touched on that in the first one or not. They might have. So he's so then the Ministry of Good or whatever the hell they're called, I forget what they were called. They recruit him because there's another villain who has stolen some chemical and they need help tracking him down, and they can't figure out who it is, so they figure, let's recruit an ex-villain to think like a villain type of thing. So they bring him in, and he's like, I'm retired from that way of life. He's like, I make jam now. So he ends up leaving. Basically, he's turned his whole lab and his minions and everything into this big operation of making jellies and jams. The other mad scientist doctor guy that worked for him is still there, which in the first one I thought he'd left him at the end, but he's still there, so I know he went against him, like, you're getting away from our plan at one point, but it's been a while since I watched it, so they probably worked it out at the end. But that guy, he's trying to develop this ultimate jam, and he combines every fruit flavor ever, and it tastes really gross, apparently. Even the minions won't eat it. So he talks to Gru, and he says, I really miss being evil, so I'm gonna leave. He's I got another job offer to basically henchman for someone else. So he leaves, and then Gru decides that he's gonna go ahead and work for this ministry because he's crushing on the girl who brought him in to recruit him, and she's kind of crushing on him back. So they set him up in this mall as a cupcake shop owner, and apparently one of the owners of the other stores in the mall is the villain. They just don't know which one. So of course Gru realizes who it is, and he goes, I think it's this guy. But when they go looking for evidence, they don't find it. But when they go searching one of the other shops, they find evidence, so they think it's this other guy, and that Gru was wrong. Turns out he was right. The other guy, invites him, the other villain, invites him to his kid's, was it his birthday party? No, some party they were having. They were just invited. So when they show up there, the guy confirms, I am who you think I am type of thing. And it turns out that he actually, throughout the movie, kidnaps all of the minions. And when he injects them with this chemical he stole, they turn evil. They turn purple, grow like wild hair, and they just like go crazy. So once Gru realizes this, he kind of goes into fight mode, and he wants to get his minions back. So he goes after him, and they're fighting against each other. And the other scientist who left, turns out he's working for this other guy. And he finally contacts Gru, and he's like, look, this is what's going on. They kidnapped the girl. So finally when he shows up, he's like, taking over the world and, creating a race of evil minions, that's all fine. But when you go after my family, that's where I draw the line. So he turns back to teaming up with Gru, and he finds out that the jam is actually an antidote for this chemical. So they start shooting all the minions with the chemical and turn them all back into the good minions. The good minions start fighting against the other minions and shooting them with the jam. Then at the end, Gru and the girl from the Ministry of Good or whatever. That they were, the two that were crushing on each other, they end up getting married. And that's pretty much the end of the movie. Then they just have a big party, the wedding ceremony, and that's pretty much it. There's a lot more goes on, but that's the overall premise. A lot of good jokes, especially from the little kids. They were the funniest part of the first one, and for the little bit that they're in the second one, they're still the comedic backbone of it. So as far as a star rating, I'm going to go ahead and give it a 4. High 3.5, pushing 4, but I'm going to go ahead and go with a 4. The first one I probably would have gave a 4 as well, had I been reviewing that right now. So they're on par with each other. It's just a different story from the first one, and it could have used a little bit more of the overall family dynamic than what they put into it. But other than that, it was a good story. Would I recommend seeing it? Definitely, especially if you like the first one. Go see it. Definitely worth ticket price, definitely worth a rental. Maybe pay-per-view. Definitely if you see it on Netflix or HBO or whatever, definitely watch it. A couple good laughs in it. That's pretty much it for this review. Not sure what I'm going to get around to seeing next. Not even sure when my next day off is, but I'll be back eventually with something, as always. And until then, as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you at the movies.